Hi, I'm Rocco Stano, and welcome to StoryMakers, not StoryMakers in the kitchen, even though you may think so, because I am surrounded by pasta here, because we have Martha Hamilton and Mitch Weiss, two of the creators of the Noodleheads series. Welcome to StoryMakers.
Thank you, Rocco.
Thank you, Rocco. I should tell you that long ago I worked in a restaurant and cooked quite a bit. So if you need us to step in, let me know.
The chef here at KidLit TV Central is calling for the pasta. So we're going to be sending the pasta to the kitchen where it belongs. Okay, there it goes. Have the Noodleheads ever flown in any of the books?
As of yet, the Noodleheads have not left the earth.
It could be trouble if they tried.
Well, tell us about Noodleheads Do the Impossible.
Well, Noodleheads Do the Impossible is actually the sixth book in the adventures of the two foolish and kind-hearted brothers named Mac and Mac, who actually are macaroni. That's right, the noodles that you have in mac and cheese. And in this book, Mac and Mac decide that they want to be famous. And to do that, they decide they need to do something that is impossible. Well, they think about it and they finally decide that the thing they want to do is to walk around the world.
Speaking of Noodleheads, why did you pick noodles?
Because we're all noodleheads sometimes. We all do foolish things. Oh, we forget, we get distracted. Just a couple days ago, I was out shopping and I suddenly panicked because I realized I had lost an earring. And these earrings, they were so special. They had been a gift. Oh, I retraced my steps. Oh, I was distraught. I had lost this favorite earring. And later that night, I looked, and there on my dresser was the other earring. I had gotten distracted or called away and had never even put it on. A noodlehead, for sure. And I could tell you many, many, many more of my own Noodlehead stories. And I bet a lot of you out there listening could tell us plenty as well. Raise your hand if you have ever done something foolish.
I'll share my Noodlehead story. I am walking along and I too got distracted by something that was happening in the street. And I turned around and I kept watching what was going on in the street, and I walked right into a sign pole.
I hope it didn't hurt.
Well, it did a little, but I'm okay. But I am a noodlehead.
Unfortunately, I am as well.
Oh,
in
boy.
fact, in the Noodlehead department, I do many more foolish things than Martha. Quite a number of years ago, we were going off to a school and had to bring a bunch of things out to the car. Now, the first thing I bought was a big carton of papers, but all the papers wouldn't fit in there, so I had a lid on top, and on top I had a whole stack of other papers that didn't fit in the box. Now, when I got out to the car, this is quite a while ago, I actually had to use a key to open the car door. It didn't have a fob to automatically open it. So I tried to open up that door, but the papers kept sliding off of my box, so finally I took the papers, the loose papers, and put them on the roof of the car. And then I unlocked the car, put the box into the car, and went and got a few more things from the house. Now, when we left, you can guess what happened. Those papers immediately began flying off the roof of my car. It was a beautiful spring day, but I looked out my rearview mirror, and it looked like there was a snowstorm, a complete blizzard. I mean, there was paper everywhere. We had to spend the next hour picking up papers from our neighbors' lawns. Now, the amazing thing about this story is that when we tell it to anybody, it seems like everyone has a story to tell about something they've done, or maybe their mother or their father or their grandmother.
One of the things I love about the Noodlehead stories is the word itself is funny. So it's kind of hard to insult someone by calling them a noodlehead. When Mitch does one of his funny things, if I say, "Oh, Mitch, you noodlehead," he just laughs.
And one amazing thing about these stories is that you find them all over the world. Every culture seems to have the same Noodlehead story. So obviously, everybody around the world has that Noodlehead within them.
You're only two of the three people that create the Noodlehead books. Who's the third person?
Well, the third person is Ted Arnold, who is just a creative genius. Most people know him because of his series, the Fly Guy books.
And when Ted was first trying to figure out what the characters should look like, he tried to draw just people with maybe spaghetti hair or spiral pasta hair. And he said he just couldn't come up with anything that he was really happy with until one day he got the idea of using an elbow macaroni. And he looked and said, "This is perfect. They have a big hole. Their heads are empty. Their brains are missing. And they can both be called Mac and Mac," which kind of makes it even sillier.
There are so many great Ted Arnold illustrations. I'm sure you each have a favorite. What are they?
It's hard to pick, but early in the book, Uncle Ziti is telling Mac and Mac a tall tale about a snake and a frog swallowing one another. And Mac are so gullible. They believe anything. And I can kind of relate because I live with Mitch, who's a big joker. And most of the time I know he's joking, but plenty of times he'll say something and I'll say, "Really?" And he'll say, "No, just kidding." Anyway, in this illustration, I love how much Ted Arnold can show with his googly-eyed characters just in their eyes. When the snake and the frog are taking their first bite, they look really evil, but as they eat more and more, even their eyes look as if they've had too much to eat.
Mitch, what's your favorite?
All of his illustrations are fantastic, but I picked a very simple page where they're talking to Mama Mac. And I really think it shows Ted's brilliance in his illustrations. Their expressions range from disbelief to glee when they're starting to hatch out a plan of walking around the world. So that's the part I really love, is how much you can show on their faces despite having very little to work with.
Rumor has it that you have some great bookmarks. And here on KidLit TV, we can always use a bookmark.
It is true, Rocco. In fact, we decided to pattern them after you with bow ties.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Absolutely. Would you like them?
Oh, I would love them.
Be our pleasure.
Yes.
Here you go.
Well, I love them. Do they look like me?
Absolutely. I feel like I'm looking at triplets.
Well, thank you, thank you. We've mentioned noodles and pasta, and there's Uncle Ziti as a character. So I'd like to ask our viewers if they wanted to introduce in a future book another character that's based on a pasta. What pasta would it be? You know, for example, I would pick a bow tie pasta as a character who really wants to be a tortellini. Viewers, you pick a pasta and tell us about that character in the comments section. All this talk about pasta has made me hungry. So thank you for joining us today. It really was a lot of fun, even though it has made me hungry.
It was absolutely our pleasure. We're going to go eat ourselves.
Yes, I'm hungry too.
Remember, until next time, read a book in any format.